And action.
Welcome to In the Green Room. I'm Kinga.
And I'm Chet.
This is Martin.
This is Ken.
Welcome, everybody.
And today we're talking what is the best advice that we've ever gotten.
Or received or given.
Yes.
And the best advice that we live by. Because I feel like, it's one thing to take a piece of advice, but that's another thing to live by it. And,
That's true. You hear it.
take it to
somebody
heart
gives
every
it to
day.
you,
Yeah.
And then are you
Sometimes
applying it?
you don't accept good advice.
Oh, very
A
true.
lot of times we don't accept good advice.
Well, one of my best advice, I would say one of the best advice I've gotten from a friend, my friend Jerry, is that you should always be 30 minutes early to every
Okay,
That is good advice.
do you
not
live
good
it? Do you live the advice? That's what I'm
She
saying.
tries.
Good
She tries
advice,
very
yeah.
hard.
and so it's 50-50. Sometimes I am very early. And that feeling of being early.
Sometimes or rarely.
Well, I'd say on average, maybe not quite so
Yes.
much.
Well, it could be the advice was, the party gets there when you get. The party starts when you get there. Maybe that's what it was.
The party starts when Kinga gets there.
That's right. The party starts when Kinga gets there.
This brings up an important point, though, is being able to recognize your flaws and see that it's good advice and work towards something. Because
Exactly.
there are a lot of fields that none of us are ever going to get perfect in, and we're always going to have to keep working at those things.
And
Basically,
some-
our weaknesses.
And
Yes.
some things you can't immediately correct.
Exactly.
It's a work in progress.
But-
And some
I am
weaknesses will
really-
never be permanently fixed. Like, some people will always be a little bit late, but that doesn't mean it's something you shouldn't keep working on and advice you shouldn't keep trying to follow. Like, nobody's going to be perfect about everything.
Well, okay, so on ever since I decided I'm going to be on time, I am on time or early 75% of the time. So I'm working towards it.
50% of the time, she's always on time.
Sex Panther.
And our goal is, instead of being 30 minutes late, we're down to 20, 50.
That's right.
And then with that 25% of the time that I am, like, I was at this store and I said I had to go. And the lady's like, "Oh, let me wrap it for you. And I said, "Oh, no, I don't have time for that. Give me the stuff and wrap it later." And then she like
Starts to wrap it.
and she starts trying to wrap it, and it was so sweet. She was so nice and so beautiful. And then and all of a sudden she disappears. And I go, "Oh, where are you going?" She goes, "I gotta cut the bow." I go, I gotta go.
You remember that scene, and I think it's Love Actually, where he's trying to buy his supposedly girlfriend a piece of jewelry, and his wife is on the way back, and he's trying to rush along,
Right.
and the guy keeps putting bows and little things.
It was one of those. Yes. Well, it is difficult. Let's take that. Being on time. I think it is very important because it's a contract, right, between two people. That, especially in business, if you're going to say that you're going to be at a meeting at 10 and you're not there till 10:15 or 10:30, that's a sign of disrespect in the business world, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so,
we're disrespecting their time. Some people will never take that back.
absolutely. And there, also, like when I was in sales, making sure that if I set an appointment for 10 o'clock, let's say, that I was going to be there probably 5 to 15 minutes early so I could find it. I knew where it was. That didn't always happen. And if it didn't happen, I always called ahead and say, "Hey, just to let you know, this is what's going on." So, I mean, there's it's really just I think as long as you're showing respect to the person that you're meeting, and if you're late, you let them know, kind of thing. But specifically, you Kinga need to work on it.
Wait, in this room, am I the worst one in the room?
No.
I need to work on it.
We're all not perfect. I've been late. Chet's been late. I think Ken's been on time every single time, unless he's with you.
Yeah, I have that excuse. But I tell you, in the courtroom,
Oh yeah, I
appearing
bet
in front
judges
of a judge,
love it when you're late.
It is unforgivable.
Yeah.
You
really?
learn by habit that
Mhm.
you
If you're
cannot
late,
be late.
right.
Not only does it piss off the client, but the judge is infuriated.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They want. Well, my coaches, if you're late, more than 15 minutes late to the appointment,
Cancel.
the appointment's canceled, and they still charge you for it because they want you to make that time the most important time that you have. And if it's not, then they're wasting their time.
Is it valuable?
All right, so
Exactly.
we got her advice. The best piece of advice she's gotten recently is about being on time.
Mhm.
Martin, what's the best piece of advice you've gotten recently? You're such a wise life
Or in your
coach.
life,
I
in
feel
your
like
life.
Or yeah.
Yeah,
in your
I
life?
have so many pieces of advice.
Okay,
the
give all of
one
them. Give all of them.
that really came up to me first, I think, was the most impactful when I started coaching. Because I was moving very fast in life, running through the forest and hitting my head on a tree and moving to the left and keeping moving. So the best advice that I got was to slow down, to speed up, which means that you've got to really take stock in your life. You've got to understand what's going on with yourself before you can really experience and live and love life. If you're just going through the motions and going, and not really stopping to smell the roses, not really stopping or slowing down to appreciate what you have, then you're going to get to the end of your life and just wonder where everything went. And so and that's where I was headed. And so I think that's probably one of the most impactful. And there was obviously a lot of discussions around that, but it's this idea of, a lot of my clients are going. They got kids, they got, a business, whatever. And I'm always advising them to take a moment, do a mini meditation. You don't have to sit there for an hour or anything, but it's taking those times to breathe, taking those times to appreciate what's in front of you. I think is probably the best advice I give, and that
I
I've
love
gotten.
that.
Yeah.
That's great. So Chet, what's one of yours?
Well, it's kind
Best
of been
advice
my
given.
mantra that I've been living like this whole year. No days off. And you can apply that to so many different things. You can apply it to your physical health, working out. You can apply it to your mental health and learning. You can apply it to your enjoyment in your soul, like making sure you enjoy it every day. So I think, and it's just so simple because you can apply it to all those different aspects of life. So it's the easiest. It's the easiest piece of advice to follow.
Yeah, and when you originally said that, I thought it was several shows ago. I kind of thought initially that it was kind of anti what I was saying. It's slow down to speed up. But now that I've thought about it more and listened to you explain kind of what it means to you more, I think it goes along the lines of live every day, right? There's you can take a Sunday off, you can do this, but live every day in the positive stuff. Don't live every day in wallowing in your regrets and things. It's hey, I wanna learn how to speak Spanish. Okay, well then spend 10 minutes every day learning Spanish. I want to work out. I want to be in better shape. Okay, then spend 15 minutes a day doing yoga.
It's all about that self-love aspect of it. Yeah, so there's no days off from self-love, but part of that needs
no
to be...
days off from self-love.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
a
phrase, but...
Should we change the title?
But so much of
Self-love?
that is...
maybe.
has to do with maintenance, and that's working out, reading, learning, writing. A lot of people lose that side, but if you...
But does it mean the same routine every day? To me, it doesn't mean that, because you have various needs, say during a week or a month. But if you totally take a day off, as I understand it, would mean I got no goals, nothing important going on in my agenda today, which I think is what you mean, is there has to be a purpose.
Yeah, so there's no days off. It would relate to all those different aspects I just said. So there's going to be a physical purpose. So you're going to have some kind of a workout for the day. And like you're saying, it's not going to be the same every day. Where one day it might be a hike, the next day it might be playing basketball or yoga,
swimming,
or lifting weights. It's not always the same. But like I was saying, every day needs to have a purpose as far as leveling up mentally, physically, and then also enjoying yourself, enjoying life. So, but I try to do them in that order. I try to work out and reward my body, and then you feel so good and you have such an elevated mood and so much energy from your workout that then you're stimulated and ready to learn or write or read, whatever you're going to do that's going to stimulate your brain. And then once you've done both of those things, you feel so good about that, you're ready to go enjoy yourself, because you're like, I've worked out, I've read a book, or I've written a new song, or done something productive for my brain, and now I'm ready to go reward myself. So I love having that reward-based mentality. I have a very reward-based mindset. Like I love working for something and then treating myself for it. So I think a lot of people could potentially enjoy getting through productive tasks more if they have like that reward mechanism.
100%. And I think also too, if you have a career that you truly enjoy, we're not saying work 7 days a week, right? We're talking about all about balance here. But if there's an aspect of your job that you love and you want to do it on a Sunday, who cares? I think it comes from that self-love portion. If you hate your job, if it's a drudge to get up in the morning, okay, well that's a different conversation. Then you're always working, right? And then that even goes more into the slow down to speed up. And then yes, there's no days off for self-love. So if you're in a shitty job, then you're having a tough time giving yourself self-love. It's time to think about a different job, because that's not what we're here for. We're not on this planet to have a shitty job.
That's an excellent point, Martin, because that's something that is not discussed enough in our society, is that you should try to work in a field that you, maybe if you're not super passionate about, at least interested in. There's so many people that are working in an industry they have zero interest in, and they wonder why they're super depressed. It's like if you spend 8 hours a day doing something you have zero interest in,
right?
Of course.
Well, I think that's part of why we saw the quote unquote great resignation here over the pandemic, is I think that a lot of people got the time, they slowed down during the pandemic.
And they realized they weren't enjoying what
their
job.
Absolutely, yes. And so
now
then
I've got an excuse. I'm out of here.
Right.
So speaking on that note, this Sunday it was Mother's Day, and I wanted to work on Mother's Day. I wanted to call Dominic and see if we could come in and do a show about mothers and how the importance of good mothers, and have my kids talk about if they thought I was a good mom.
The theory was you and Rachel would come in, just do a show with Kinga and tell her what a great mother she is.
As you're smoking joints. I thought that'd be super fun. Were you guys even open on Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, you were?
Missed
darn it.
opportunity.
Well, we can just tell you're a great mom now. You're a great mother. So.
Aw,
Well,
that's so sweet.
In so many different ways too, because not only did you teach us you basically taught us those mindset of celebrate every day, work out every day, and level up every day mentally. So I kind of learned those things indirectly from you.
Yay.
I mean, the kind of no days off thing kind of came from David Goggins, but being focused on each of those three branches of life, that definitely came from you. Being focused on physical health, and then getting smarter every day, and then enjoying life, because you definitely
And having lots
enjoy
of
life
friends.
as much as anybody does.
That's very true. It's
And what about having lots of friends and making friends everywhere you go?
Well, I would put that in that same category of enjoying life, because without friends, there is no such thing. So
That's true. That's very true.
That's true. That's true.
those things that go hand in hand, they're kind of, you need one to have the other.
Well, my
So.
card was my favorite thing on Mother's Day.
Nice.
The card that Rachel and Chet wrote to me. Should I read it on the...
No, that's okay.
Actually, it's Ken's turn. I want to hear what his greatest advice given and gotten is.
Okay, mine is much more deep than your guys'. It starts out pretty young, and my dad was a good tennis player, and I was learning tennis. And
Is he
what
loud enough?
told me, Kenny, you got to practice at least an hour and a half every day. We were in.
Let him tell the story.
We were in Minnesota, so every day meant like 6 months a year.
You're right.
And I did, and I got quite good at it. I learned from
Oh,
that.
really?
You had to be intense about something you liked.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be, this took all kinds of weather. You had to fight through the bad stuff.
Right.
And a couple of years later, when I took up golf, I got the same kind of advice from a golf coach. And he said, hit 200 balls a day, again, during the same season. I learned the same lesson, basically. If you're going to get good at something, you have to commit to it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like that 10,000 hours thing we talked
Well,
about.
Yeah, Malcolm
Well,
Gladwell.
this kind of covers over into mine with no days off, because I totally agree.
Yeah,
If you want
exactly.
to actually master something, you can't take days off, because every day you take off, you're sliding backwards and you're getting worse.
That's right.
So
That's
that's
true.
where the nature of it comes from, is that if you truly want to master whatever it is you want to get good at, you can't take days off.
That's right.
Even if you
That's why King and I want to master drinking wine.
exactly. And even, so as
Cheers,
a music
cheers.
producer,
10,000 hours.
10,000, we got
Yeah,
we got our 10,000
so that
hours.
intensity is huge. Where I might take a air quotes day off from producing, I'll still spend 30 minutes writing down new vocal ideas. I'll still write down melodies for an hour. I'll still do it for a few hours. There's no actual days off. But of course, your schedule is going to vary, and you'll have days that are lighter than others. But if you really want to master something, I don't think you ever want to have it off your brain for 24 hours.
I love it.
Yeah, I would say for the most part that's true. There are times when life gets in the way or things happen, and I think the important thing is not to beat yourself up about it. It's I love Michael Frante's song. It's never too late to start the day over. So you miss a day, start fresh the following
And just
day.
do double.
So true. And there's not one correct way to do it. I know some artists that'll take a full month off of writing because that just is what works for them.
Right.
But what works for me is no days off.
I
Keeping
love
at
it.
it.
I love it.
Evolving.
And by the
Many
way, everybody's
writers-
been saying, oh, hold on. Everybody's been saying how good you look. We went to get pedicures, all of us did, on Mother's Day, and both the nail ladies were like, Chet looks so good.
Of course they do, because they don't see men in
You
it.
can be 5 minutes.
Oh, hold on. When I
You're
was
not the
making,
fat fuck anymore.
when I was making the appointment for the nails, she says to me, okay, I said for 5. I said appointment for 5, Mother's Day, and she says, well, they wanted to do a longer
Better
pedicure.
Saturday.
So she says better Saturday, better Saturday.
yes.
So anyway, so she goes, and you 5-10 minutes early, no late. And then she goes, and Rachel Chet 20 minutes early.
So she knows you
Yeah, it
very
kinda runs
well.
in the
Yes, I get it. That's funny. I like this lady
I wanted to
already.
get back to what Chet was saying, because sometimes you change your mind too. So
Yes, and it's okay.
at some point, I was going to say that, there's a concept of writer's
Do you want
block,
a pub?
for example, and sometimes you might need just a change of scenery, if you will, mentally, and do something different, and it might open your mind up to where you were before. If it's in the back of your mind instead of trying to force it into the front of your mind.
Yeah. One of my favorite vocal artists didn't come out with any new music during the pandemic. They spent the time doing pottery, and they're now selling that for to raise money for charities. But that was their way. They just kind of switched their art form. They were still immersed in the art, but they needed some time away from the music.
And I bet the
Interesting.
pandemic did that for a lot of people.
I think so.
Took you away from your routine and got you into, well, maybe I have an interest here or there.
Dominic, do you have any good advice that you've been given or you want to give? Or?
Not that I thought of at the moment.
I
still
remember
doesn't
one.
Yeah, but maybe he'll.
Instead of that hamburger, put that $5 into your
Oh, that's right.
investment.
Oh yes,
Oh, that's
from
right.
our French financial.
Well, that
Marshall.
actually,
Marshall.
that may
Marshall.
come from
Yeah.
Graham. I don't remember which one it was.
One of the two.
Well,
yes,
they
both of
they
them.
both have very thick accents.
But one thing that I love that Ken touched on though is that also just like being able to manage your expectations on, is it something that's just a hobby or is it something that you truly want to master? Because that should be affecting your gauge on how much time you're going to be putting into something.
And that may change.
Yeah, because something that's more of just like a hobby, like racquetball or something, you might be like, oh, I'm just going to do that, once a month or something. Obviously, there's not going to be no days off kind of thing. But if you want to become the best racquetball player in the world, then you need to take no days off.
Well, I
So
think
it
that's a
depends.
good point.
Yeah.
Is that that's part of slowing down to speed up? Is really thinking about what do you really want? What do you really want to do with this life? That's what I was faced with, and seriously.
I think I'm starting to get
Yeah, so that's what
Yeah.
my dedication to music production. I want to be the best music producer I possibly can be, and I know that's only going to happen if I have that really high level of intensity, dedication towards it, that I personally thrive best with doing it every single day.
Right.
But there might be somebody else out there that's listening that's like, oh, I just want to make music for a few hours a week as like a fun little hobby. And they might do amazing just doing that. So there's different ways to go through life. You don't necessarily have to do no days off with every single aspect of life. But
Absolutely. Well, there's one aspect that I picked up was I like to make lists. And I
love
also
lists. I've been
like
making
to
lists.
encourage my clients to make lists, and it's specifically around what do you want. And so I've made lists and lists and lists of things that I needed to do, wanted to do, etc. And I spent a lot of time just sitting, kind of taking a peek at those lists, and then just sitting and meditating on what is it that I want to do the most. And then I pick that first thing off that list and get that crossed out. And then what's the next thing I want to do the most?
Oh, I love that.
And so a lot of things on the list just never get done.
Or what's the most important?
Or what's the most important?
Like paying your bills that day, or
right, whatever that
going
might
to the
be.
bank.
I do this also, and I find that certain things fall to the bottom,
Yep.
and eventually I just chuck them.
Exactly.
What do I need it for? Apparently, it's not important for me.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of things that I've written down that I thought were important at that moment, but as I, again, slowed down to speed up, part of slowing down to speed up is let things take care of themselves. And so many times I would have something that I needed to fix, and then something would happen, and that would be fixed by someone else. Or,
another piece of advice that I've been given by somebody that was actually on the
Wait,
show.
this time, let's do one that you are really, really good at living by. 'Cause
Okay,
last time you
okay.
said being early, which was one you're working on more.
But I have, Martin, last week I showed up to the restaurant 30 minutes early waiting for you. And I texted you, I'm here. See?
So
So you're
happens.
improving. You're improving.
And
You still
lightning
haven't
strikes
mastered
twice
it.
every once in a while, too.
I gotta say this, Chad is even worse than Kinga.
Oh, boy.
And in the last 2-3 days, Chet's had the advantage twice.
Oh.
So he's either greatly improved or we're having a little
See,
slip
that's
back
right.
here. I don't
Well,
know.
we'll just have now we'll have to create a competition between Kinga and
Oh,
Chet, and
okay.
whoever gets first gets a prize.
I like that. Yes. Okay. I like that. I like
First
that.
to every
That's
show.
perfect. That's
Your
perfect.
toes.
That's right. Hit that now. See, now there's the the competitiveness in Chet. Just heard that. Oh, you're toast, man. I got this.
Let's create this. Okay. Let's start a new. Let's start a new.
Well, and that's
thing.
part of advice is making things fun, making things a game.
Yes.
I have a client that they have to have a very safe environment. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with their particular company. And there's other companies similar where recently some people have died because those companies didn't take safety seriously. And so one of the things that I'm working with them is developing a safety competition. So safety becomes a competition rather than just something that you have to do. And so there's prizes and points. And I guarantee you, if once everyone is focused like that, it becomes fun and light in a very serious situation. But every single day, those people are going to be focused on that, which is important to that business to continue. Because obviously, if someone died, then that business is over, right? And so it's this idea of really changing your mindset so you change things that are drudgery into a game. Did that at Jack in the Box. We created all these really fun games behind the microphone because these kids were just, bored out of their minds. And so we created some games that they could play while they were helping people and helping them get the orders correct and that kind of thing. And because we put it in a game type mentality, they accepted it and they did it without bitching and moaning as a lot of people, when you implement programs in most companies, people are like, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this. You put a game together and like, yeah, let's do it. I'm in, you're toast, right?
Brandon, yeah.
Well,
So wait, what was the piece of advice you were about to give though? You were about to give some really profound one.
Let me think about it.
let me fill in the silence here for a moment. Sometimes the best advice can be, if you will, negative. Like with my wife, she was a financial advisor. She had a bit, she couldn't get numbers straight.
She passed away about 5 years ago, sadly, Mary.
So the advice to her was, Mary, you can't write these orders yourself. You suck at it.
Right.
Have an assistant to it. So you delegate what you're not good at.
Yes.
So that was an excellent piece of advice for her. It served her for 25 years or so because she took herself out of something she was poor at.
Right.
And delegated to somebody who could do it.
Yep.
And it was off her mind, and it was not a problem.
I know what I was going to say.
Okay.
When you're done with
I was
yours.
gonna say, I have a really good piece of advice when you're done with yours then.
Okay. So my dad.
Get your number.
Yeah.
My dad was always like very gregarious and cardiologist, doctor, and I'm very social and in music and arts and dancing and just enjoying life because that's how my dad was. And when I say was, he's not been doing that well, so he's kind of bedridden now. But I would say the best advice he ever gave was to have school nights be like weekend nights. And so it'd be a school night and we'd have dinners till like 11 o'clock at night, or we go to the symphony on a school night, or we go to I remember we went to Sydney. We wanted to go to Sydney Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper,
yeah. We went to her on a school night, and so he's like, every night, should be a weekend night. Every night should be a weekend night, and you should enjoy every day, every night,
every moment.
Yeah,
I love it.
Nice.
And so that was one
Never
thing of
a day
advice.
off.
Never a day off. That's right, never a day off. And then another thing that my dad would do, another piece of advice he always said is, he said, when you really feel like you trying to get ahead with wherever you are, he said, go to the top. Don't go to the owner of the company, go to the CEO to talk to meet them, to get to know them for whatever you want to do. And actually that piece of advice has led me to all these people that have been on the show. Because even though I'm like nice to the busboy or the doorman, and I become friends with them, I realized, like, don't be shy to go straight up to the owner of that company, or the CEO, or that famous baseball player, or Alice Cooper, or don't be intimidated. Randy Johnson, how with Randy Johnson, you were just like, you treated him like he was like any other guy, and that's what he liked about you, because all the other kids were kind of scared to talk to him when you were on that team with his son. Remember that? And I remember him saying Chet is the only kid that like is not intimidated to like come and talk to me, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I read this one book that talked about going to meet people that you want to meet, and they agreed with what you were saying, is go to the top, and they were saying that everybody has to eat lunch, everybody likes to be purchased lunch or bought lunch. And if there's somebody that you really want to meet and you really want to pick their brain, A, you can probably do it if you're bold enough, and B, make sure you really know what you want to ask this person, because they're not.
Be prepared.
Be prepared, right?
Yeah.
It's time wasted.
Exactly. And so really have amazing questions that you really want to know the answers to. But you can do it. If you wanted to go to lunch with the mayor of Phoenix, you could probably figure that out if you just made a phone call, and if you wanted to meet the CEO of a specific company and really understand a little bit more about their business. You can actually do it.
He happened to be one day, just the first time I met him, he happened to be grocery shopping at Whole Foods. He had his entourage of bodyguards, and I went straight up to him and I was like, my number 3 guy was a Democrat, and I said, see that guy over there? I said, he's a Democrat. I said, but can you win him over? Can you turn him into a Republican? He came straight from the line, came to talk to him. And it was just hilarious. And then he and I ran into Doug Ducey again at Steak 44. And I walked up and I go, remember me at Whole Foods? That's how we got to know each other.
Right.
Every time I saw him, I'd say, come recruit this Democrat.
Right. And they're just people.
Exactly.
They're
That was funny.
people who
now
like
totally
attention.
Friends.
They're looking for new friends. And if you have something
Hey, Democrats
to offer,
are not just people, they're people.
well,
One piece of advice I think I would rival with like no days off being one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten, is that the bigger guy is the one that's able to walk away in like a lot of altercations. The quote that relates to it is like, the great white shark cares not of the thoughts of the minnow. So basically, when somebody's trying to instigate you or start a fight with you or something, it's actually the bigger move to walk away and just let it go. Because it doesn't happen all the time, but when you have one of those opportunities to walk away, you're making that person, you give them zero power. And it kind of depends. Some people, this isn't something they would walk into it necessarily, but ever since I started living by this advice, I've probably walked away from like 15 or 20 fights in my day. And who knows, maybe one of those times I could have gotten hurt or
vice versa,
arrested or something like that.
Oh, totally.
So,
The same thing applies in my profession, in litigation. I would phrase it, you choose your fights.
yeah.
Because the attorney that picks on everything loses the jury and or the judge. And if you just pick what's important, What means something to this case instead of I'm going to fight about everything.
Well, that's like in my divorce.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't take. I'm not saying you should take shit. If somebody is like gonna hurt you or they're really threatening you, you should stick up for yourself. No one's about it. But when there's just that drunk asshole in the crowd who kind of nudges you and then is like trying to fight you, just walk away from him. It's not worth your time.
And it usually has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly.
Right.
There's some people out there that just want to get in a fight or they just want to start some shit. So it's a bigger person to be able to walk away and walk past that. Back when I was like in high school, 16, 17, if somebody said something to me like that, I'd be like, wait, what was that? And I would be down to go for a little brawl. But
Right.
I've gotten older and wiser, and I've learned that advice to the bigger person is the one that's able to walk away and say, oh no, I'm so laser focused on my goals. I'm not going to let some drunk idiot who's trying to find me right now, they're not going to distract me from my long-term goals. So, because at the end of the day, one fight can derail your long-term goals, and don't let that happen.
Well, okay, so I can think of two things. One was with my divorce, which I don't want to talk too much about this, but because now your dad and I are friends, but I feel like my divorce attorney created so many problems. He drummed up all this drama to make him more mad that he would then that would instigate something that would come back to me, and then his attorney would do the same thing. And actually, we always got along until the very end there.
Nothing worse than two divorce attorneys.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
that's right.
I'm
But
saying.
battling for billable hours.
Exactly. And so if anybody out there's listening and you're thinking about getting a divorce,
if the bigger one of you guys were able to walk away, it would have stopped all that conflict. But you guys both kept fueling the fire by having conflict.
Actually,
essentially.
But the attorneys.
But that happens with every divorce. So
But
neither
actually,
one of you guys are.
the only reason why it finally got resolved is because I have a friend named Jerry that walked into finally we had a mediator, and he went into that mediator and he said, this is ridiculous, this needs to end. He said, this has been going on way too long, I know about all these bills, and he said boom, this has to stop. And he just, I don't know, and he made it stop. And so that's what helped.
Well, the moral of the story is the quickest way to end a conflict is for the bigger person to walk away.
Right.
And say, I'm not going to engage in conflict.
I love that.
That's the quickest way to resolve it.
I love that.
So you should literally look at it, not that you're weak if you
Right.
walk away to resolve a conflict, but rather that you have the bigger set of balls because you cared about yourself and your future more than a dumb little 1 minute fight.
Exactly.
Right.
That's
There
right.
are
That's right.
exceptions to that, like World War II.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes
sometimes you've got to stand up and
Like
fight.
that, yeah.
Of course.
Will Smith and Chris
That's what I'm
Rock,
saying.
which we respectfully
We've
disagree
discussed
upon.
I'm the only one on one side. There, I think.
Well, yeah, that's why I prefaced it by saying you have to defend yourself. If somebody's bullying you, you stick up for yourself and you don't take shit. But what I'm saying is, if
Do you remember
you
that
see,
when you were a kid and I
if
said
you
go
see
fight
a
those kids?
situation you can easily remove yourself from, and you don't need to intervene to like save someone's life or something, you can just avoid that conflict altogether. That's a big brain move.
I'm saying no names, but when Chet was a kid, I said, don't fight, don't fight, don't fight, don't fight. And his dad said, don't fight, don't fight, don't fight. Until there were these kids that started bullying Chet.
No, don't tell the stories.
And all of a sudden I heard the details and I was like, you go to school and you fight those boys.
Yeah.
And he did. I was so happy he did. And everything was good.
I had
Right?
2 stepchildren, and one of them was small for his age, and he was getting a bit bullied. And the other boy was quite big for his age.
Yeah.
And aggressive. And my wife said when she saw the bullying going around, she said, Jay, the older boy, the bigger boy, take care of it. And he did. So that's exactly right. At some point, you've got to say, wait, this is too much.
Well,
Oh, yeah, well, you have to
Chet was
defend
only in like
yourself.
5th grade, and had I not done that, maybe Chet would have been this total nerdy wimp.
No.
Thank God, now he's a strong.
I prefaced it by saying.
what turned you around.
No, it turned him around.
I prefaced it by that you
It
have
could
to
have been
stand
some
up
like
for
little
yourself.
wimp because
No.
I didn't let him fight. I'm like, go to school and you fight those boys.
Yeah, I'm sure that would have stopped him.
No,
Don't
you
let-
definitely tried to be like a helicopter parent or something. So I don't know about all that.
No,
But
I don't think that's
I think
No, it is true. Wait, you're saying that's not true? That is true.
No,
went to the
I think you're an
principal.
amazing parent. I think you're an
I went to the
amazing
principal
parent.
and I said,
I know.
I've always taught my son not to fight, but these kids, these kids are being mean to my son. Their mother is the principal of the school. And I said, I'm telling my son now, I'm getting him fighting lessons, and I'm telling him to fight because he's not moving from that lunch table. And I'm so glad. And I said, if he fights them and he gets in trouble, I'm just going to say that this is unethical, and then you fought them and you didn't get in trouble. It was good.
I'm
Right.
telling you, you're
Yeah.
not a helicopter.
Maybe not now.
Well, yeah. So of course, when you need to defend yourself. That's kind of goes without saying. But I just think if it's an unnecessary conflict that you can walk away from, like that drunk asshole at a concert or at a sporting event, because just looking for trouble, don't stoop
engage.
to that occasion. Yeah, exactly. Rise above it and walk past them. Because for some reason, I am just a target for those drunk assholes. Every time I'm at a concert or a festival, I have at least one person try to start some shit with me. And I'm just like Jedi Master at fucking just going around it and not engaging with it. And this one guy was like so frustrated this one time. He's like, you're not gonna hit me? I was like, no. Like, walked away. Like, I'm here to listen to music.
You're already an idiot.
Yeah, I'm here to listen to music. You don't have any brain cells left to lose. What are we doing here? So yeah, I think that's a really good piece of advice. If there's any 18-year-olds out there listening to it that still have a hot head that don't take any shit, if you can learn how to walk away from dumb conflicts, it'll save you a lot of trouble and a lot of brain cells and broken hands, all the above.
100%.
So-
100%.
That
Say
is great
sometimes,
advice.
Advice can be just gratuitous, off the wall. I mean, I was in the Army and in this intelligence unit, and everybody in the unit but me and one other guy were involved in law some way. And they said, Ken, just go take the LSAT, which is the qualifying test for law school. I said, okay, I'll do that. And then I enjoyed my career in trial law for 35 years. And that simple bit of advice, just go take the LSAT,
Right.
was a little turn in my life.
Oh, really? So you wouldn't have, wow.
I never thought of going to law school.
So
Never thought of being an attorney.
So to generalize that advice to like kind of every field, it would kind of be like, take that shot, go for it. Kind
Yeah,
of thing,
when you get
because-
something that gets you thinking, oh, I never thought of that.
Well, it's exactly like this show in the Green Room Green. If everybody's out there, friend us on Facebook or Instagram in the Green Room Green.
What do we do?
Well, the reason I'm saying this is there was another show I was on, and it was not my passion, and the topic was nothing I'd be interested in, like politics. And then one day, the owner of the show wanted us all to wear like Trump shirts and Trump hats, and I came back and I said, that was during the election, I said, I won't wear all that Trump stuff. I'm not going to like lose half my friends. And so I was going to quit the show. And at the same day, the owner of the network came to me and said, hey, we want you to start your own show.
Okay.
So
Exactly.
exactly.
Right. That's it.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Had he not done that, I wouldn't
And
have
being
even thought
open
to
to
do it.
that.
Turn in the road.
Exactly. Yes. So, and this show has been, I feel like it's been very positive because we're here
Saving the planet one show at a time. That's right.
and trying to, like we have Martin, our love coach. People can find him at yesismorefun.com.
Yes.
He's saving people and saving their lives by doing what?
Oh, just having amazing conversations. Coaching is, and just in general, business consulting. Being able to go into a place and learn about what their passions are, and then be able to help them mostly
And
by
giving them advice.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I do.
He's giving them
advice
advice.
on what to do and what not to do, as Ken's talked about, and learning from just the experiences that I've had, and knowing that okay, I've tried it these 4 ways and it didn't work. Just so you know, tried it this way and it worked. So why don't we try it this way? And just being able to
my
share
count
that.
is up to like 53 ways that you've done it.
It
Most
is.
seem to have worked.
Yeah, I have. It is kind of funny, but I have done so many things in my life because I said yes was more fun. I said yes to
There you go.
I'll try selling pools, or oh yeah, I'll try selling solar.
And you've
or,
always told me say yes.
Yeah, say yes. What's the worst thing that could happen?
And that's
right?
why I'm always having fun. Because
Yeah.
we're yes,
I
yes,
love
yes, let's
that
go.
movie, Jim Carrey's The Yes Man.
I love that movie. Yeah.
That was just I was doing it before then, but that movie was just kind of like that icing on the cake. Like, yeah, that's how life can be. You know, if you want, he learned how to play guitar because, and you know, he didn't take any days off. He found guitar lessons, obviously practice, and then one day he needed it, and it was there for him.
Yeah, that movie could be called No Days Off of Spontaneity.
There you
Because he's
go.
just so spontaneous in that movie.
Well, I was at a bar watching the Suns game recently, and there was this adorable couple, totally fun, and they started talking about this concert that they're going to tomorrow night.
Mm.
And
And Bert?
all of a sudden, I know, and all of a sudden, he's like, you know, I ended up buying better seats in the front row, so I have these 2 seats that are for sale, and I was supposed to be out of town, which I'm never going out of town until it's like better weather. Just kidding. I mean facetious. Anyway, so
Meaning Wednesday.
I'm not.
Right, Wednesday.
You know what? I'm not going out of town Wednesday. You never tell the air what time you're going out of town.
Well, I didn't say what month.
Anyway,
We're
you
recording
never
this
know if
in
I'm
September.
kidding. You never know if I'm kidding. That was funny. Anyhow, this guy says, "Oh, you want these tickets?"
Mhm.
And I thought, you know what? Say yes.
Yeah.
You know, have you heard of the Smiths?
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
Morrissey.
Yeah.
It's Morrissey.
Nice.
Yeah, do you wanna
That'll
go?
be a good time. No, but
But yes, it's more fun.
No, it's less work.
That just happened in real time.
That was good.
So yeah, we'll go back through on more pieces of advice. I was just waiting to make a point because you guys were all making amazing points of your own. But circling back to my point about avoiding conflict, is that one other thing I forgot to add is that it can save your life because I don't know if you've ever had a friend who is like just a professional fighter or trains all the time, but there are certain type of people that are just built different and they're very high trained and they just love conflict. And so there's a
You mean
chance
fighting, like physical fighting, or just
Sure.
arguing
Oh,
like a lawyer?
either one. They can
Okay.
also cross over. But I'm saying is that there's people that are, it doesn't matter if it's a physical fight or argumentative. There's people that just go seeking those things out. And so when you
These are angry inside.
Yeah, exactly. When you're rising above and avoiding those conflicts, you save so much energy too, and it could potentially save your life if it is somebody that is literally very high trained fighter and they're literally just looking to start some kind of an altercation like that. So I don't know, just that avoidance. Some people might say that it's wimpy or weak or something, but you might be trying to stand up and fight against somebody that you literally have no chance against.
Remember,
Right.
I'm not going into details, but our mutual friend Sean, that introduced us,
Right.
he had a party when we were kids. We were dating each other, and there was one of the kids that came to the party that went to Circle
Yeah,
K.
he had a friend that fought back against the wrong guy, and he ended up with his head bashed in by a rock.
and
So
stabbed
that's a
like
good
25
point.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you read the whole story, you couldn't believe it. So,
Yeah, so that's what
you
I'm
never
saying
know.
is that there's those psychopaths are out there. So that's what I'm saying. If he would have risen above that and not engaged in that conflict with him, he might still be around today.
Right.
That's right.
So
I might have missed the point, but I thought you were making the case to seeing the movie The Lost City.
Oh, that is a great movie.
Wait, I didn't get that.
The
the fighting.
the fighting, the
Anyway,
Is that Mark?
incompetent.
He was trying to
fighting
work in
versus-
he was trying to work in the movie that we were
on Mother's
seeing.
Day,
Yeah, I
the
liked
kids
it.
took
I
me to
liked
see
it.
The Lost City.
Oh, okay.
Which is
so
a good
good.
movie. We would give it in the green room recommendation.
Oh,
it was
I would
very
give it a 10.
entertaining.
I thought it was a 10.
Okay, really?
I very rarely say I want to see a movie once. I mean, excuse me, twice. But this one I want to own and watch it all the time.
And that's Mark Wahlberg and
No.
Sandra Bullock?
It's
No,
Channing
Channing
Tatum.
Oh,
Brad
Channing
Pitt.
Tatum. Oh,
But yeah, it was
Sandra
actually
Bullock.
it was kind of making humor on the fact of like how a lot of Hollywood actors don't actually know how to fight and don't have combat experience.
so funny.
Okay.
So it was really like poking fun at how he was so novice.
It
in
was
the
so
field.
and it was so well written and it was very clever
Yeah, he's
humor.
the
Oh my
poster
gosh.
boy for being the
The tough guy.
And then
but he
there's a
doesn't
big,
know how to
he
fight.
doesn't know how to
big
do
he was
anything.
the big
Yeah,
gal, the
so
big
funny.
gal.
I like
funny.
Channing.
She
was
I do like Channing Tatum about that because he's definitely one of those tough guys that can make fun of himself.
Oh yeah, and he did a great job of it. That self-depreciation.
And Sandra Bullock is the exact same way. She is so
Perfect.
straightforward and
No,
he's a straight man.
kind of stoic. Yeah.
But funny.
All the jokes are going around her, and she's just bowling her head.
Oh, I thought she was funny. I thought she was hilarious, and she looked beautiful. I thought she looked better than ever.
Right.
Great movie. How many minutes do we have, Dominic?
Coming up on 16 or 15.
15 more minutes.
Wow.
So
All
we
right.
definitely have time to do
Or,
another
sorry,
round
wait.
of advice.
Wait, sorry. It's actually 7 minutes, not 16.
So we
Okay.
have 7 minutes left.
Yeah.
So we
7 minutes,
each
okay.
have time for
7.
one more piece of advice.
Well, can we have a song that sings a little bit about
Well, no,
advice?
we-
I want to have a song. We haven't done a song in a long time.
Well, let's do it at the
Song,
very
song,
end.
song.
Let's do
No.
it.
All right.
Yeah,
We'll
song. Yeah,
keep
it won't
going.
happen.
Keep going.
If we don't do the song now, it'll never happen.
I'll volunteer another piece of
Yes.
Okay,
And,
as he gets it ready. But I want a song.
and I think I've spoken about this before. My wife would say, shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd say, don't worry. We've made bigger mistakes than this.
Yes.
Good advice.
Mm-hmm.
Put everything into
In perspective.
Okay.
Things are going to go on, and put it into perspective.
Mine feeds so off that I have to say what mine was going to be was just don't sweat the small stuff.
There you go.
And it's because it's definitely something I've improved on in a great way. Because I used to be the kind of person that where if I was like, trying to carry 4 cups or something and I spilled 1 cup of water, I would let that piss me off. And I'd like have to go on a run. I would be
I
like-
got 3 here.
Yeah, and then I eventually realized, like, don't sweat that small stuff. Just clean it up real quick, shake it off your shoulders, and just realize everybody makes that mistake sometimes. Don't let it get to you. Because if you let it get to you, then you're ultimately losing more time, and it's more of a headache. So
Exactly.
the
And
sooner
it's a
you
downer.
Yeah.
And it suppresses good things that
And
it
also-
takes that good energy out of you in this.
100%.
Yeah.
All right,
So-
let's go to the song.
All right.
No, you've got
Well, what
more.
what song do you want?
You could be don't sweat the small stuff.
Just with the small stuff.
That sounds like a good song
Give us good
title.
advice in your song. Yes, it's more fun. Any song is good. And I could be your backup singer.
All right. Well, we're on the radio and telling people don't sweat the small stuff.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Just follow Chet's advice and every day just work a little bit on being more buff. It's easy if you choose it. You can make a list and then you can do's it.
You make that list.
Make a list.
Make a list. 'Cause your kiss is on my list.
And now we know what's on Kinga's mind, which is usually on her sleep. I know it's really not easy
Daryl
to
Hall and John
believe. Be good to each other out there and walk away from a fight. All we want is for you to have a life of love and delight. Yes, 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 it's more fun. I say yes, yes, it's more fun. But no is less work.
Sometimes.
That was fun.
Oh.
5 minutes? 2 minutes.
2
Okay,
minutes.
2 minutes.
Minute.
Because we're
All
here
right,
saving
in
the planet.
One
One
show at a time. Check out inthegreenroom.green. Yesismorefun.com. And we've got some new music out by Deep Chetty. You got a couple songs rolling right now.
Hell yeah.
Have you already
And then
released the Deep Porsche? I mean, not
No,
Deep
no.
Porsche. I mean,
Deep Porsche. Well, wow, that sounds like a fun song.
I mean, the gold Porsche.
No, it's not out yet.
We're off the deep
I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
I
releasing
have a
my shallow
bunch of
BMW
shows.
track next week.
I have a bunch of shows coming up though, so I'm really excited for that. Yeah, just loving life, putting out music, playing shows. What more could I ask for?
That's all
So,
right.
what advice would you give
Last
to somebody
advice.
that's gonna get out there and make some music, or start DJing, or start producing music?
I would say that if you really want to get good at it, that you need to be super passionate about it and absolutely love it. I would say that applies to anything. If you really want to be good at it, you need to be passionate about it and love it. Because ultimately, those people that are passionate about it and love it are going to have a leg up on you. Because, like, I love every second I'm in the studio. I enjoy it. It's a good time. Like, so I have a massive leg up on people that think that that's like a chore. So
That's it.
I would
That's
agree.
it.
I would agree.
All right. I think we're right about done. Thank
20
you, everybody.
seconds.
Thanks for listening. In the green room. Green.
Spread the love.
Oh.
Save the planet.
that was fun.
Super fun. One show at a time.